What if the person you are most afraid of becoming is not the one who fails, but the one who succeeds and still feels empty? And that terror of emptiness is so profound, so paralyzing, that you have been secretly, unconsciously and systematically sabotaging every step towards your own greatness, because you know that if you reach the peak and the view is still gray, you will have no excuse left, no story left, no comfortable blanket of "if only" to wrap yourself in, and you will be forced to confront the most terrifying question of all, which is not, "What if I am not enough?" but "What if I am enough?" And it still does not matter. What if the achievement is not the answer? What if the applause fades? What if the money runs out? What if the love is not enough? What if you reach the end of the road and the road just keeps going, and you realize that the destination was never the point was the walking, and you have been so focused on the destination that you have forgotten how to walk? And today, we are going to stop walking towards, we are going to stop walking away, we are going to stop walking altogether. We are going to sit down in the middle of the road. We are going to feel the dust beneath us, the sun on our face, the wind on our skin. And we are going to realize that the sitting is not a failure. The sitting is a revelation. The sitting is the beginning of a new kind of movement. A movement that is not about getting somewhere, but about being somewhere, and the somewhere is here, and the here is now, and the now is everything. The first story is a story of a woman who climbed the highest mountain in the world. She trained for years. She sacrificed everything she endured, the cold, the thin air, the exhaustion, and she reached the summit. She stood at the top of the world. She looked out at the infinite horizon, and she felt nothing. She felt no joy, no triumph, no relief, just a vast yawning emptiness that swallowed her whole. And she sat down on the peak, and she wept, because she had achieved her life's dream, and it was hollow, and she had no idea what to do next, and she stayed on the mountain for 3 days. She did not move, she did not eat, she did not sleep. She just sat in the emptiness, and on the 3rd day, a bird landed on her shoulder, a small, ordinary bird, and the bird looked at her. And the bird sang a single note, a note that was not beautiful, not impressive, just a note. And the woman heard the note, and she felt a shift, a small, imperceptible shift in the emptiness. And she realized that the emptiness was not a void, it was a space that could be filled, a space that was waiting for her to fill it. And she did not fill it with achievement. She filled it with the moment of the bird, the moment of the wind, the moment of her own breath. And the twist is that she did not climb down the mountain with a new plan. She climbed down with a new presence. A presence that was not focused on the next peak, but on the step she was taking. And she said, the summit was not the answer. The summit was the question. And the question was, what are you going to fill the emptiness with? And the answer is not a thing. It is a moment. It is the bird. It is the breath. It is the life that is happening right now. The second story is a story of a king who had a dream that he was a beggar, and in the dream he was hungry, he was cold, he was alone, and he woke up terrified. He was a king. He was not a beggar. He was powerful. He was wealthy. He was surrounded by people, but the dream haunted him. It would not leave him. It would not leave him. It followed him into his bedchamber, into his every waking moment, and he became obsessed with the dream. He consulted his advisors, his priests, his philosophers, and they all gave him different interpretations, but none of them satisfied him because the dream was not a message. It was a mirror that was showing him something he did not want to see, that he was the beggar, that the crown was a costume, that the kingdom was a stage, and he was performing a role that was not his own. And one night he left the palace, he took off the crown, he put on rags, and he walked into the city. He walked among the beggars, the merchants, the thieves, and he saw himself, he saw his own face in every face, his own hunger in every hunger, his own loneliness in every loneliness, and he wept because he had been living a lie of separation, a lie of superiority, a lie of power. And the twist is that he did not go back to the palace to be a different king. He went back to be the same king, with Vic to be the same king, but with different eyes. Eyes that saw himself in every beggar, every merchant, every thief. And he ruled with a compassion that was not born of duty, but of recognition. And he said, the dream was not a warning. It was a homecoming. And the homecoming was the realization that I am the beggar, and the beggar is the king, and the king is the beggar, and we are all the same, and the same is the truth. And the truth is the compassion, and the compassion is the life. The third story is a story of a musician who played a symphony that was so perfect that the audience wept, and the musician was ecstatic he had achieved his masterpiece. He had created something eternal. And he spent the next 10 years trying to recreate that moment, trying to recapture that perfection. But every attempt fell short. Every note was a little flat. Every phrase was a little dull, and he was frustrated. He was angry, he was desperate, and he began to hate the symphony. He began to hate the audience. He began to hate himself, and one day he met a blind woman, a woman who had never heard his symphony. And he said, I will play it for you. And he played it, and she listened, and when he finished, she said, that was beautiful, but it was not the same. And he said, how do you know? And she said, I can feel the difference. The first time you played it, you were playing for the joy of playing. Now you are playing for the memory of the joy, and the memory is not the joy. The joy is the moment is the music. And the music is not the symphony, the music is the playing, and the playing is the life. And the life is the moment, and the musician was silent. And he realized that she was right. He had been chasing a ghost. And the ghost was not the symphony. The ghost was his own lost joy. And the twist is that he did not stop playing the symphony. He stopped playing it for the memory. He started playing it for the moment, and the moment was different every time. And the different was the beauty, and the beauty was the life. The fourth story is a story of a farmer who planted a field of wheat, and he watched it grow. He watered it, he protected it, and he waited for the harvest, and the harvest came, and it was abundant. The wheat was golden, the grain was full, and the farmer was happy. He was fulfilled. He had done his work, and he had been rewarded, and he took the wheat to the market, and he sold it. And he made a profit, and he was satisfied. But then he looked at the empty field, and he felt a pang of loss, a pang of emptiness, because the field was empty, and he had no more wheat to grow, and he was lost. He did not know what to do, and he sat in the empty field. And he wept, and a neighbor came to him and said, why are you weeping? And he said, the harvest is over, the field is empty. I have nothing left to do. And the neighbor said, the field is not empty. The field is resting, and the resting is the growing. The resting is the preparation for the next harvest. The resting is the necessary, the essential, the sacred, and you have been so focused on the harvest that you have forgotten the rest. The rest is the meaning. The rest is the life. The rest is the gift. And the farmer was silent, and he realized that the neighbor was right, and he stopped weeping. He sat in the empty field, and he rested. And he felt the sun on his face, the wind on his skin, the earth beneath him, and he said, the harvest is not the goal. The harvest is the cycle, and the cycle is the meaning. And the meaning is the rest, and the rest is the life. The fifth story is a story of a poet who wrote a poem about a bird that was trapped in a cage, and the poem was sad, it was beautiful. It was a cry for freedom. And the poem became famous. It was recited in schools. It was quoted in speeches. It was a symbol of the human spirit, and the poet was proud. He was satisfied. He had made a difference. But then he looked at his own life, and he saw that he was the bird. He was trapped in a cage of his own making. A cage of routine, a cage of comfort, a cage of fear. And he was a hypocrite. He was writing about freedom while living in captivity. And he was ashamed. He was disgusted. He was furious with himself, and he decided to break out of the cage. He quit his job. He left his house. He traveled the world, and he was free. He was liberated. He was alive. But then he looked back at the poem, and he saw that the poem was no longer true, because he was no longer the bird. He was the sky, and the sky does not need to sing about freedom. The sky is freedom, and the twist is that he did not write another poem. He stopped writing. He became the poem. He became the freedom. He became the sky, and he said the poem was a cry. But the cry was not the answer. The answer was the flight, and the flight is the living. And the living is the freedom, and the freedom is the life. The sixth story is a story of a general who won a great battle. A battle that was decisive, a battle that ended a war, and he was celebrated. He was hailed as a hero. He was given the highest honors, but he was not happy. He was not proud. He was not relieved because the battle had cost him his best friend, his closest advisor, his most trusted companion, and he was grief-stricken. He was hollow, he was broken, and he retreated to his tent. He refused to see anyone. He refused to eat. He refused to speak. And he sat in the dark and he wept. And a servant came to him, a servant who was not afraid, and the servant said, "General, the battle is over. The war is over. You have won. Why do you mourn?" And the general said, "I mourn for my friend. I mourn for the loss. I mourn for the meaning that has been taken from me." And the servant said, "The meaning was not in the battle. The meaning was in the friendship, and the friendship is not dead. The friendship is in your heart. The friendship is in your memory. The friendship is in the way you will live from now on. Because you will live for him, you will honor him, you will carry him with you, and that is the meaning, that is the meaning, that is the victory, that is the life." And the general was silent, and he realized that the servant was right, and he stopped mourning. He started living. He lived for his friend. He honored his friend. He carried his friend with him. And the twist is that he became a greater general, not because he won battles, but because he led with compassion, a compassion that was born of loss. And he said the battle was not the meaning. The friendship was the meaning, and the friendship is eternal. And the eternal is the meaning, and the meaning is the life. The seventh story is a story of a painter who painted a picture of a door that was closed, and the painting was beautiful. It was detailed. It was realistic. And everyone who saw it wondered what was behind the door. They imagined treasures, gardens, miracles, and they were captivated. And the painter was famous. He was admired. He was the master of the closed door. But he was also frustrated because no one ever asked about the painter. No one ever asked about the hand that painted the door. They only asked about the door. And he felt invisible. He felt erased. He felt like a ghost in his own fame, and one day he painted a self-portrait, a portrait of himself, painting the door, and he placed it next to the door and he showed it to the world. And the world looked at the self-portrait and they were confused. They said, "Why would you paint yourself? Why would you interrupt the mystery?" And the painter said, "Because I am the mystery. I am the door. I am the one who opens. I am the one who closes. I am the creator, and the creator is not the creation. The creator is the one who creates, and the creating is the meaning, and the meaning is not in the door. The meaning is in the hand that paints the door." And the twist is that the self-portrait became more famous than the door because it was a portrait of the act of creation, and the act of creation is the most human thing we do. And he said, the door was a question, the self-portrait was the answer. And the answer is the creator, and the creator is the meaning, and the meaning is the act of creation. The eighth story is a story of a child who was born without a name, and the child grew up without a name. And the child was happy because a name is a label, a category, a cage. And the child was free to become free to explore. But the world was uncomfortable. The world wanted a name. The world wanted to know who the child was, where the child came from, what the child would be, and the child was pressured, the child was bullied, the child was rejected, and finally the child chose a name that was small, ordinary, and forgettable, and the child was accepted. The child was included. The child was no longer an outsider, but the child was also sad because the name was a cage that defined a cage that limited, a cage that killed the freedom. And one day, the child met an old man who had no name, who had never had a name. And the old man said, "I have no name because I am everything. I am the river, the mountain, the star. I am the naming, and the nameless is the truth, and the truth is the freedom, and the freedom is the life, and the life is not a name, the life is a presence that is beyond the naming, a presence that is the very essence of being. And the child was silent, and the child let go of the name, and the child became the nameless, the presence, the being. And the twist is that the child did not become invisible. The child became visible in a way that was deeper than a name. And the child said, the name was a cage. The nameless is the freedom, and the freedom is the meaning, and the meaning is the presence, and the presence is the life. The ninth story is a story of a ship that sailed to the edge of the world, and the edge of the world was a waterfall that fell into an infinite abyss, and the sailors were terrified. They were paralyzed, they were ready to turn back, but the captain said, "We have come this far, we must see what is beyond," and he sailed the ship over the edge, and the ship fell. And the sailors screamed, and they fell, and they fell, and they fell, and they did not crash. They did not die, they fell into a new world, a world that was upside down, a world where the sky was below and the earth was above, and they were confused, they were disoriented, they were amazed, and they realized that the edge was not the end, it was a beginning of a new reality, a new perspective, a new life. And the twist is that they did not try to return, they stayed in the upside-down world, and they built a new civilization. A civilization that was not based on the old maps, but on the new vision. And they said, the edge was not a terror, it was a teacher, and the teacher taught us that the end is the beginning. And the beginning is the possibility, and the possibility is the meaning, and the meaning is the life. The 10th story is a story of a grandmother who was dying, and she called her family to her bedside, and she said, "I am going to tell you a secret that I have kept for 80 years, a secret that is the meaning of my life." And the family leaned in. They were eager, they were curious, they were ready. And she said, "The secret is that there is no secret. The secret is that the secret is the living. The living is the meaning is the moment is the love is the connection is the family is the story is the life, and the life is the secret. And the secret is that you are the secret, you are the meaning, you are the life, and the life is not a thing to be found. The life is a thing to be lived, and the living is the only meaning there is. And the family wept not from grief, but from gratitude, because they had been searching for a secret that was in their own hands, their own hearts, their own breath. And the twist is that the grandmother did not die that night, she lived for another year, a year of peace, a year of presence, a year of meaning. And she said, the secret was not the answer. The secret was the question, and the question was, are you living? And the answer is yes. And the yes is the meaning, and the meaning is the life.